What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the 2022 BMW i4 M50. So what is the i4? It's a brand new four-door coupe style sedan by BMW that is all electric. It's brand new. Yeah, 100% brand new. You can reserve yours now thanks to BMW's website. There are two variants you can buy in the i4. The first one is the eDrive 40, and that is rear-wheel drive and has a starting price of around $55,000. The second variant, which is this, the M50, and this is all-wheel drive because it has two motors, one in the front and one in the back, that is rear-wheel drive bias, and has a starting price of $65,900. But who does it compete against? Maybe the Taycan, maybe the e-tron GT, or is it just the Tesla Model 3 in its Model 3 and Model 3 performance? But this video is not going to be all about Tesla versus BMW. This is going to be about BMW and why they built this car, what this car drives like, what it looks like, what it feels like. Yeah, welcome to the show. Under the theoretical hood, in both cars you have an 81 kilowatt hour battery. The eDrive 40 produces 335 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. This M50 produces 530 horsepower and 586 pound-feet of torque. However, you actually don't get all of the 530 horsepower unless you put it in boost function mode and you get the extra 67 horsepower that it's holding back. And that includes 48 pound-feet of torque as well for a short period of time. BMW i4 M50, 530 horsepower and 586 pound-feet of torque out of this thing. Now, different drive modes. If you want to get the maximum power out of these motors, you actually have to go into Sport, hit it again, you get Sport Boost. Because there's Eco, Comfort, and then Sport Boost by hitting the same Sport button one more time. This is where launch control kicks in. So I'm on the brakes, I'm on the throttle, and then you get this weird volcanic tremor of the earth happening, which is pretty exhilarating actually, and that stops. About 5 seconds or so of that. Try again. There it is. Launch control active. Go. The camera moved. Wow. Let's bring you back. 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds. That hauls. This car is just a bit too easy. It's BMW on the outside, but the drive disconnects me from it being a BMW. There's a lot of engineering in here. This steering is very, some would say numb, others would say over-engineered. I would say I point and it goes after it has to move the weight across. But at the same time, there's so much tech here that you can make it all kind of work to your style of driving. It's interesting though, because where does this thing price out? It prices out just over an M340i and not as expensive as an M3, but with the rebate of say $7,500, it actually is priced pretty well because a Tesla doesn't have the rebate anymore. You cannot get rebates on some product, but on this you can. So maybe from a price perspective, you actually get quite a bit out of this BMW. So how does it feel when I'm driving it? It feels like I'm driving an SUV. It doesn't feel like a car. It's low in terms of my seating position, but this hood is so high and this dash is elevated that it just feels like I'm driving an SUV. I definitely don't feel low. Like I'm driving a Hyundai Elantra N this week, and that feels low and it feels very tossable. It's definitely way lighter. I mean, this is like 2,000 pounds heavier than that. This is obviously more expensive and also faster, but this is not tossable by any means. It's a sports car, but it shouldn't really have all this M badging all over it because it's not really an M car. That's the marketing guys saying, hey, just put M on it and people will believe that it's sporty. It's fast, that's the problem. See, on paper, 3.9 seconds is fast. It's definitely M territory, if not faster than some M product, but, you know, generations past. But it's just electric, and electric is so hard to make fun. I mean, like even the Plaid being the fastest car in the world, it's not really fun. It's fun to like bring people for the first, second, or third time, or if you're not used to the car you get in, you're like, that's cool. Just like this, it's like on or off. So I'm gonna hold this camera because this thing is faster than the camera can hold, and like it's cool. Like that's cool. That's cool. But what happens if I want to just run around town and not worry about all the performance stuff? If I want to throw in eco, how does it drive, or comfort? Well, then it's very quiet, and I get this beautiful display showing me what comfort looks like, which is rocky desert. Passing power in these things are just unreal. Unreal. Nothing mechanical or ice, or basically just anything gas powered, can't compete with this thing. They just go, they just move. And it's just gonna really suck for these cars that have no low-end torque, that are really cheap on fuel, that you jump in one of those and you jump in one of these and you're thinking, wow, this is like a bullet. It's fast, it's smooth, it's quiet, it's efficient. The other thing this thing does that's nice is when I'm puttering away here and there's cars in front of me and they automatically brake, I don't have to do anything. This thing automatically slows down, like it's knows that there's cars in front, and it realizes, well, you don't have to do anything, Mike. I got you. I'm gonna brake for you automatically. And I don't have any cruise control type product on. It just does its thing and it brakes for me. That's cool. I can deal with that. So what do you think about the front end? I actually do like it. I like the way this all looks. I like the way it pieces together. It's very aggressive. I love this bumper. Like, take away the lights and all this stuff. The bumper itself is very aggressive, very wide, and I do like it. So let's talk about the difference between the i4 and a regular 4 Series. What differentiates the fact that this is electric? And that is this little logo has a blue accent around it. Even the grille, which doesn't even need to really be here because it serves no purpose for air. You see, grills are really designed to suck air in, but there's no air required. So why is it there? They've really M'd this car out. Now it does have sport brakes, so yeah, maybe there's a reason to have this M, but take a look at this grille again. You see this? This is the radar, and it's kind of obvious. And there's 3 types of grills in this one big kind of grill. There's this on the top, there's this, and then next to it you have these horizontal flares. So you got 3 types. There's just too much going on with the grill. The grill's fine. I hear ya. People don't like the design, but 3 different designs in one grill is a bit much. But we've got these lights because these lights pulsate when you walk up to them, and that is so cool. I love it. Let's check under the hood. I'm gonna tell you a dirty little secret. There's nothing underneath here. 0 storage. And I'll tell you another secret. This is not built on an all-new platform for an electric car. This is built on the same platform as the 3 and 4 Series. So it's built on a gas-powered platform. Now, why does that matter? Well, there's a few things, and I'm going to show you, especially inside the car, why it matters to actually have a purpose-built platform for an EV car. Color. This color is available in the M3 and the M4, and it's called Frozen Portimao Blue. And what else do you get for the M50 styling package? Well, you get these brakes, which are blue, and they are M Sport brakes, so they actually do make a difference. You also get black pieces in the front, the side, and the back. You also get adaptive suspension that you can adjust when you go around corners. Now, what else do you get? You get 19 standard and 20s as an option. but they make a big difference when it comes to economy. You get 227 miles when you get the 20s, and you get 270 miles when you get the 19s. That's a huge gap for 1 inch larger. I thought that was odd. I love the fact they use these mirrors. These are my favorite mirrors in the car industry, and they are from the M series product. Check out these door handles, how flat and sleek and flush they are. Check out the battery. You see, it has a lower center of gravity by 38 millimeters compared to the 3 series, so it's nice and low. And style of it, yes, because this is a 4 series coupe, it flows backwards. So we're going to check out the headroom in a minute, but how about the trunk? Let me open up this trunk and show you how this truck looks from the side. It is a sportback, hatchback, fastback. This is the only charger we have. Will this thing work in this? Of course not, but they have actually designated AC DC and not the band. It's cool that they have that. So if you don't know anything about electric cars, you know that when you plug it into DC, this thing will charge from 10% to 80% in 31 minutes on a fast charger. So that's good to know. Can't compete with Tesla because they have the best infrastructure in the country. Matter of fact, in North America. So BMW, how do you compete in other spots? To the back. Not that sporty, right? Look at these weird exhausts that are not there. They actually use similar design, like we need exhaust, by accenting this piece with this gray outline. Don't you think they should have just left this design all the way through, or left this valence piece everywhere across the back? The fact they look like this reminds me kind of like a 5 series. It's just not super sporty. Yeah, it has the same blue accent as the front to let you know it's an electric car, so hey. But it's a lot of M and a lot of 5s, and I'm like, I kind of want something more, Comment below. As you open up this power adjustable, lock activated rear tailgate, you notice you have 39 inches worth of width and 39 inches worth of depth. Now the unfortunate part is that there's a lot of space that's actually left hidden. Like these panels suck up so much space that it's kind of disappointing. Because they suck up so much space, you'd expect it to have a button or sort of a handle to fold the back seats down, but it doesn't. It just has sort of a luggage holder and an outlet to plug something in. Back seat of the BMW i4. Now, this is a new news that in the back of a fastback or a slant back, they don't have a lot of headroom. Now, I'm 5'8.5", and I'm just about touching. So anybody taller than me is going to be doing one of these. It does have a little bit of a cutout in the headliner, but your head needs to be a little bit more forward. It can't exactly lean back. These headrests are definitely not going to work when I have to put my head myself to actually use the headrest. So that's the first thing. Inside though, it's really good. It's typical BMW, solid, everything feels good. The doors feel heavy when you close them. There's a decent amount of legroom. The bench needs to be raised a little bit. It's pretty flat. I have 0 bottom leg support. But everything else is good. I like the stitching. It's blue stitching everywhere. They missed the carpets, kind of odd, but the best part is the seat belts. So let's take a look at these seat belts and show you how awesome they look, because I'm about to get into something that you're not going to want to hear. And that is the transmission tunnel. If you know what that is, that's basically where the shaft would go to connect the front wheels to the back wheels. And because it's electric, it has no reason to have a shaft, except for the fact that this is not an all-new platform, as I mentioned. This is the same platform as the 3 Series and the 4 Series, so it's a gas-powered platform for an electric car. So that's where the problem happens, because you cannot fit 3 adults back here comfortable. They have to spread their legs wide enough, and there's still not enough leg room for 3 dudes back here. So that's kind of hard. Now, as far as sticking stuff and cups and all that fun stuff, you can get 2 decent sized cups in here. You do have HVAC controls, and you do have 2 USB-Cs on the bottom here. So everything that way is done well. Of course, it has Harman Kardon, and of course, you feel safe in the back of this BMW. To the front. Front seat of the BMW i4 M50. How could you miss this massive, curved, non-reflective screen? That is cool. You got 15 inches for everybody in the car, and then you've got about 12.5 for me. That's 27 inches of long, beautiful visuals that BMW gives us. because everything else is pretty much BMW-ish. All this stuff here is very clean, lots of carbon fiber, and very BMW-ish today. Another thing is that all these blue accents match the outside, which is nice. So around this steering wheel, you have the BMW logo, nice and blue, and then on the shifter, nice and blue, and then the start and stop is nice and blue. Obviously, along with all the blue stitching you have on the seats, and on the door handle, and of course all the blue ambient lighting, so nice touch. Now, it's missing a few things, like buttons. There's a few buttons, not a ton of buttons, which is nice. It's not buttons everywhere. This is not a Mercedes-Benz, this is a BMW, which is nice to have. But there's some buttons you need to have that are quick and easy to access. Like there's no presets for radio, but they have done some cool pieces, like this integrated heads-up display. It will not reflect when you're driving. It's actually hidden really well where it doesn't ever reflect to the front windshield. And that's the problem that most heads-up display have. But it has wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It does have a wireless charger as well, and it has a USB, a full USB, and a USB-C under this really small glove box. Some people complain it doesn't have ventilated seats, but it does have leg extensions. It does have a lot of BMW stitching. It does have really good visibility, considering that it's a sports coupe and they usually suck when you're looking out the back window. So when you start the car and it's running, this is what your home screen looks like. You have menu, media, telephone, nav on a sidebar here, and then your nav, and then all these little side widgets, let's call it. So you have radio, telephone, personal assistant, and then values since factory. So very, very clean, and you can see what you've touched because they've put these little triangular bars around it. And you can have stuff like talk to me and reset. So when I said that there's not a lot going on the dash itself, it's because they've moved a lot of it up here. And take a look when I press the menu button to know what I'm talking about. There is lots going on here. So it even takes some stuff from your phone and then puts it up here as an icon. And you can see you have BMW ID, you have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, charging, weather, stuff that you'd probably use. Even interior lighting is here. It's not like you have to go into a menu and then find a sub-menu to find it. It's all basically in one shot. Even your messages and your Wi-Fi connection, because this does have over-the-air updates with its 5G network built in the car. And even climate control, even though climate control is right here on a bar that you really can't get rid of, which is kind of odd because when I go back to home, you can see that this climate bar overlays the map behind it. So when I want to go climate, I press the button and then I have a whole new menu here. I can sync it. Obviously your heated seats. This does not have ventilated seats as I mentioned, and then your fan speed and then your defrost and that kind of stuff. And then when I go into settings, I can adjust stuff like my rear climate control, my temperature adjustment for my upper body, and then of course preconditioning because this is a battery vehicle and you can adjust before you leave. You can have the car set up to the right temperature and precondition the battery. Now when I go back to home, I want to go into more detailed stuff like ambient lighting. So let's dig into it and see if I can find it in a menu here. Nope, I gotta go back to menu and I gotta find it right here in my lighting, interior lighting, and voila, there's ambient lighting. There's no more deep menus, at least I can't find them. So even though it's fairly straightforward, there seems like a lot going on, a lot of different colors and a lot going on. So for me, it's like just set up Apple CarPlay, use it the way it is, set your temperature the way it is, and then move to your driver screen because that's probably where I'd be using my eyes most of the time. Now when I hit the camera button, this is what you get. You get an overview 360, so it's a lot of detail. And you can press these different buttons to get different views of the car. And then of course you have a 3D view, and I like the fact that they're using the actual color of the car, which is sweet. They even have a car wash feature, though. When I press the car wash, it gives me an overhead and shows me my track. So I know that I'm not gonna hit the wheels on my car wash. Pretty cool. And when I show the back camera here, I wonder what we're gonna find. Oh, we're gonna find a guy that's just standing there showing off his merch. Attaboy. It's like, yes, on paper, everything about this car is awesome. It looks sweet, way better looking, in my opinion, than a Model 3. I mean, the Model 3 is plainer, but the Model 3 looks kind of like a, you know, it's been called enough names. This thing is cool. Like the headlights look awesome. The detail is just so good. I mean, this car looks beautiful on the outside. Inside, it's well done. It is a bit more money than obviously the Model 3, but, and I know that it requires like 25% more battery and produces the same amount of mileage. I know those things, but this is for a different clientele that would want a Model 3. This is for somebody that walks into a BMW showroom and says, I want something electric, what do you guys have? And they want that BMW infrastructure, not the charging infrastructure, because that person will know or may not know that they will have to charge it at home. Because all these chargers that you can find are not yet ready to take this 200 kilowatt absorption of power. But if you want a BMW that's different, that has a rebate so you feel like you're saving some money and gives you all the characteristics of a 4 Series that you like with the electrification of the world, and it's sustainable, then hey, maybe this BMW i4 M50 is for you. But I love the color. This color is awesome. You don't have to wrap it like the Tesla owners. You actually have good paint straight out of the box. So there's that. So all in all, I would probably not use the slogan ultimate driving machine. I would say it's more like a very easy car to use, looks like the ultimate driving machine, offers all the same individualism that the ultimate driving machine does give you or should give you, but in terms of it being raw and pure and all the good stuff, it's still electric. And that's no fault to the i4, it's just the fault of the industry. And yeah, there's some marketing gimmicks here. It's good without that vibration. So with all that said and done, I think it's a really good buy with that rebate that they give you and the fact that you can optimize it the way you'd like and have the same similarities as having the M4 or M3. Just no real fun times for us enthusiasts. Easy. Look, it's like no brainer. Just like when you guys subscribe. No brainer. Thanks for watching.